Hello, everybody. This is a short layup video on 3 topics which I intended to cover in our last session, but unfortunately I ran out of time. So all 3 topics involve intervals. So let's do a quick revision on intervals to start. Okay, so you would remember this chart. Remember that an interval is the distance between 2 notes or pitches measured in tones and semitones. The semitone is the shortest distance. And for example, you have the minor second interval, which is just 1 semitone. You have the major second, which is 2 semitones. And you have the third and the perfect fourth, etc., even the perfect fifth. All right? So this is the shortest one, the semitone, and this is 1 tone. And all the other intervals are measured in terms of tones and semitones. Okay, so topic number 1 is the melody line. I didn't quite cover this. And this chart says that the melody line or any line of music on the staff can be thought of as either a sequence of notes and pitches or a sequence of intervals. All right, so you can think of it either like a sequence of notes or as a sequence of intervals. Now, let me show you what I mean by this. Now, let's take, as a simple example, a melody line like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Now, that is a melody. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. All right, so that is the top bar. It goes on. All right, so that's the whole thing. Or you can think of that as a sequence of pitches or notes, right? So you have C, C, G, G, E, G, F, F, E, E, D, D, and then back to C. All right, and that is how a lot of people think of as a melody line, as a sequence of notes from left to right on the staff. You can also think of it as a sequence of intervals. So for example, the first interval is C and C is unison. And then you go to the fifth, which is the G, and that interval is 3.5 semitones. Then the next interval is 1 tone from G to E, back to G, and then you have another tone back to F, a semitone to E, and then a tone, and then another tone. All right? So it's the fifth, the second, right? Back down to the second, then another second tone, a semitone, like that. Okay? So let me just switch to the camera so you can see more what I'm doing. Right. So you see this is the C, the here, that will be the perfect fifth, and then you have a tone here, back down to G, the tone, and then that's another tone jump, then a semitone here, and tone, tone. All right, so now the advantage of thinking of melody as a sequence of intervals is that once you know the intervals, you can play the melody from any point on the piano, from any root note. For example, now in that example, we started off at C. Okay, but if I go to D, for example, right? So from D, you go a fifth up, right, and then a tone, then a tone. Then a tone down, then a semitone, then a tone, back to D. All right, so once you follow the sequence of intervals, you can play the same melody from any starting note. All right, and just as our last example, let's say you start on E flat. All right, a fifth from here is up here. So a tone down, a semitone, and another tone, and another tone. All right. So considering melody as a sequence of intervals allows you to begin the melody from any point in on the keyboard, from any note, starting note. That brings me to point number 2, which I forgot to mention, which is the pentatonic scale. I remember I had spoken about that during the session, during the last session. And there was a little thing on the pentatonic scale that I needed to show you, and which is this here, now the major pentatonic, which is normally called the pentatonic scale. This is the scale pattern of the pentatonic scale. So you have tone, tone, this T S in brackets is tone and a half, which is 3 semitones really. One tone plus a semitone will give you 3 semitones. Then another tone, then another 3 semitones, and that gives you the pentatonic scale. Okay, so for example, if you look at the major scale, you would see that the pattern here is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So there's a semitone involved here. As a matter of fact, in all the scale patterns and all the scales, the majors and minor scales, and the modes as well, every one of them involved a semitone. The pentatonic doesn't have a semitone. There's a tone and a half, right? Jump. So that is pretty odd, and that explains when Bobby McFerrin was jumping around on the stage, people naturally tend to avoid that semitone interval because the semitone interval is like this, all right, which is not a comfortable interval. All right, another one, all right, you put them together as a chord, you get that. All right, so people tend to naturally, the human body will avoid this clash, tension, right? So I just thought that was interesting. In the pentatonic scale, there is no semitone interval. All right, let me just bring back up the keyboard. Right, so for example, the pentatonic, C pentatonic would be this. That's C pentatonic, right? This is the big jump here, a tone and a half, and then another tone and a half here to finish it off, okay? If you play the pentatonic on the black keys, you would get right. This is the tone and a half jump. This is the tone and a half jump. Okay, so I just thought that would be interesting for you. And as I said, I wanted to point it out in the session, but run out of time. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you had to do with the notes on the steel pan. Again, this has to do with intervals. Now remember that when you hit any note on a steel pan, all the notes are connected, physically connected by the pan itself, all right? Even though you have the space here, the pan is connected, the B4 note is connected to this note here, which is B5, all right? So all the notes are connected. So when you hit this note, all right, everything around it vibrates in conjunction with this note. Now, this would be the loudest note. This would be the fundamental note, right? Remember when we were doing overtones? There was a fundamental note and there were overtones which were waves that fit comfortably into the fundamental note. All right, so you have the pitch ratios that we spoke about, 3:2. The octave pitch ratio would be 2:1. All right, 3:2 would be the fifth. Right, so if you look at these notes, you will notice that these notes are all a fifth interval apart. Okay, And the other notes, like for example, B5, this is an octave apart. So everything is comfortable here. This sort of looks like this, the circular fifths, which we discussed. And all these, again, all these major keys are a fifth note apart, C, G, D, A, E, B. On the pan here, you have on the bottom C, G, D, A, E, B. The same sequence of notes, and also F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. All of these are the same notes on the circular fifths. All right. So you have all these notes connected because they are physically connected. They have to be in harmony with one another. All right. The double tenor. This is just an arrangement. It is not hard and fast, but this is just an arrangement of notes. All right. So again, you have C4, C5, and octave apart, G here. All of these are either fifths apart or fourths, or sometimes thirds, right, which is the next best thing, okay? And then the sixth bass, again, you have C next to C, C going to F, which is a fourth, all right? G and D, okay? So you have all these notes that are physically connected, but one is an overtone of the next one. All right, remember that the fundamental note is the loudest, but going along with that, you have these overtone notes which are right next to it, which will sound as you play each note. Okay, so that is the short video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be posting some more of these as I go along. Okay, bye.